How we doing, everybody? Welcome back on what's so funny over there? Dude, you're not helping. You're
I
not
am
helping
helping.
my confidence here.
I'm
Let's
very confident.
all right. I'm just gonna quickly intro the episode, let everybody know what we're doing. On this episode, we're in studio with my good pal Joe
Hey,
from the crew here at the Ski Monster. And today we're trying out a new format, something a little new. It might be rough around the edges. I apologize if it is. But we're going to be answering a variety of questions that I've compiled from our YouTube page, social media page, just general stuff regarding ski gear. Um, this isn't like the goal here isn't to call anybody out or like, you know, or name any names. The goal here is kind of like to clear up common misconceptions about skis and gear that we don't expect everyone to know. So, Joe, how you doing over there?
I'm doing great.
Yeah,
It's Monday. We just had a sandwich.
yeah. Moved a lot of cardboard today.
Moved a lot of
How you
cardboard.
feeling? Strong?
I feel very strong today.
Yeah.
Ripping San Pellegrino.
Yep.
Newfound addiction.
We got it. What? How recent is that? That's
Uh,
like brand new. I've never
yeah.
seen you drink San Pelli.
Started on Friday.
Is it because you think you're better than me, dude?
No, I was really hungover on Friday, and I read that San Pellegrino helps cure a hangover, and I confirm it does.
How does that work?
I don't know.
Isn't it
Magic.
just seltzer water?
It's magic water.
I mean, no matter what, seltzer water, like hydrating yourself, is obviously going to help with the hangover. But
I think it's the minerals.
what does there's
There's natural mineral water.
explain that to me like
I don't know
I'm
any.
5 years old.
There's stuff in there that is good for your stuff. It makes you feel good.
What stuff?
Just good stuff.
The minerals.
It doesn't say. It's a secret recipe.
All right. Well, I thought maybe it was because someone told us we needed to up our seltzer game on the Instagram
Yeah,
comments.
that's actually a good point. It's really just because we need to up the seltzer game.
I had a feeling you took that comment to heart. That's like one of the only pieces of criticism we've ever received on this podcast. And I said, let's just keep our head down and keep it going. Look what I got here.
Polar.
Hell yeah, bro. But yeah, it's pretty exciting what we got going on here at the Ski Monster right now. We have a ton of boots that just came in, skis.
Yep.
We basically have full inventory for the winter. And you can just feel the excitement in the air, you know?
Yeah, 85 degrees, and we're excited to ski
That's right. The temperature is perfect right now. The weather.
for skiing.
Yeah. Dude, I want to go down to Big Snow, New Jersey
Oh,
at some point.
we
I
could.
know you're a Jersey guy, so
Yeah,
we
could
could
do
make a
that.
trip down there,
We could
maybe
do
see
that.
the family.
We could do that and do like a Giants game all in one
La
weekend.
Familia.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably punt on the Giants game, but
We could do Jets Pats.
that could be pretty sick.
Jets Pats and ski, the Holy Trinity.
Hmm.
Indoor skiing.
I think we're gonna be pretty busy on Sundays this fall, but we could probably make it work, right?
We could make it work.
Yeah.
We've made it work in the past.
Yeah. So are you how are you feeling about answering some questions?
I'm ready to go whenever you are.
Yeah?
I've done no preparation. We're just shooting
That's-
from the hip.
That's just how we like it right there. All right. So let's see. First question I pulled. So this is a video of you, Joe,
Uh-oh.
where you're comparing last year's version of the Stokely Storm Rider, which is 88 millimeters underfoot, and the last year's version of the Montero AR from Stokely, which is 84 millimeters underfoot.
Yep.
And comment on there was, what a terrible review. How is the wider ski more maneuverable?
So really good question. And we kind of outlined some of this when we did our buyer's guide spectrum last year. Just because a ski is wider doesn't make it more cumbersome. And there's a misconception out there that skis that have that much waist width lose some maneuverability because they're just bigger skis. But what is not taken into effect as you go into wider skis is generally there's more rocker. And also that particular comparison, like a Montero AR and a Storm Rider, that Montero is a much stiffer ski and has a much stronger camber profile. And when you combine those two things, you lose some quote unquote maneuverability. A strong skier could totally get those skis to do whatever they want.
Right.
But if they were to, ski a Montero AR through really steep technical terrain and then the next run do the same run on a Storm Rider 88, it's going to be easier on that
They're
Storm
going to
Rider
be working a
because
lot less hard
it's
on
a
that
little bit
Storm
more of a
Rider.
playful ski. And that's a good comparison. And another, like, the other side of the spectrum too is just because a ski is so wide, like a Fisher Ranger 108, for example,
Yep.
you would assume it's that wide. It's just great for soft snow, maybe not all that powerful. But that Fisher Ranger 108 is arguably more powerful than some skis that live in the 80 to 90 to 100 millimeter category.
Yeah.
And that's just ski construction.
Yeah.
You've got a ton of material. It's not just how wide the ski is that dictates the characteristics of the ski. There's so much more that goes into it, from rocker profile to the kind of wood they're using in the core, how much material they're adding, what the tip and tail shape look like. So while you might think a wide, big ski is going to feel cumbersome and difficult to maneuver, it's not.
Not always.
Not always.
But I mean, the Ranger 108, from what I'm gathering, from what you're saying, is going to be more cumbersome than certain skis.
No,
in
I,
that
I was
lower
just
waist
saying
width.
that, like, in the 105 to 110 waist class, like a Fisher Ranger 108 does not ski like a powder ski or a
Right.
soft snow ski.
Just because it's
skis-
wide and has a lot of
yeah,
rocker doesn't mean that
it
it's not
skis
a
a
powerful
lot.
ski.
It skis a lot like more narrow skis, and it feels really strong. And that's not a typical characteristic of really wide skis. And that's why, like, a Stokely Montero AR fits like all the characteristics that you would expect from a ski like that. 84 millimeters wide, stiff, strong, stout, powerful.
Great for
But they
carving.
also share some characteristics with really wide skis, like a Ranger 108.
Mhm.
And then skis like a Storm Rider are almost outliers in the industry because it has the Stokely name on it. It's related to a Montero, but it doesn't really ski anything like a Montero.
Right.
It's forgiving, it's easy to balance on, and, it is a Stokely, but it's not like the Stokely that people know in the industry.
Right. It still feels smooth. It's got
Yeah.
that. It's got that luxurious Stokely feel
Exactly.
to it.
But it doesn't have like the unforgiving characteristics that less experienced skiers would maybe expect from a Stokely.
Yeah, that's a ski that is just not as powerful as people think it is,
No,
and
and that's fine.
it looks powerful.
Yeah.
That like
You got to look like a powerful skier to be a powerful skier.
That's true.
That's how I operate.
That's is that actually why you've been
Skiing only Stokeleys?
yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
No, you have not been. But okay. So we can move on to the next question. Actually, before we do, East Coast Day at let's say Loon.
Okay.
A little bit of a homer pick for me.
Yeah.
What are you taking? Storm Rider 88 or Montero AR? I guess the new one.
It would depend on who I'm skiing with and what the conditions are like. If that was a ski that I was gonna be on for the whole season at Loon, I'd probably pick Storm Rider.
Mhm.
They're a little bit more versatile.
Mhm.
You can ski them in, softer snow if you wanted to go off trail at Loon. They're forgiving enough there to handle that, but I don't need to be on a Montero all day.
Yeah.
It's it's a
a lot of
great
ski.
ski. I'm not a strong enough skier to get the most out of a Montero for a 6-hour ski day. I'm getting on Storm Rider, and then we're gonna do a couple of runs, and then I'm gonna go right to the bunion room.
Yep. Which
Leave the Storm Riders
still-
leaned up outside.
yeah. I can't believe you've never been to the Bunyan Room.
I
Not to
know.
call you out
No, it's okay.
on the but I guess
It's on my hit list. I think if I were gonna go to Loon anytime soon, it would just be to go to the bunion room.
yeah. But massive blind spot on your part. Let's
Yeah.
move on. So this next comment I pulled was on a video of me where I'm comparing last year's Atomic Bent 100 to the Vocal Revolt 104, which two skis that live in the same category, they feel a little bit different. And the comment is the Revolt is 300 grams heavier, but softer than the Bent 100. That makes no sense. So yeah, I mean
That's kind of to a similar point that we were just on is, that Revolt might have a thicker core. It might have, you know, more added material. It might just be a heavier wood. I don't know exactly what's in that ski.
It's also, I mean, it's 4 millimeters wider, so that's gonna
Right.
add material.
It's gonna add mass to the ski, and just because the ski is heavier is not gonna make it more powerful. I mean,
Right.
that bent is a stiffer core than lives in the Revolt, which is
Mm-hmm.
gonna make it feel, a little bit more gripped in.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna make it a little bit less forgiving than a Revolt. That Revolt is it's not a park ski by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a playful ski. It's easy to smear. It's easy. Is it smear or smear? Schmear.
Sneer?
Schmear. Like
Did you say
schmear?
smear or schmear?
Yeah.
I say schmear.
I think it's schmear.
Yeah.
So the
Like,
Revolt's going to be easier to schmear because of the torsional rigidity is lower. The ski just has a lot more playful characteristics, and like we were just talking about with the Montero versus the Storm Riders, just because something's wider or heavier doesn't make it a bigger, more powerful ski. There's a lot more that goes into it. There's way more rocker in a Revolt 104 versus
Yeah.
a Bent 100. That's going to make the ski more maneuverable, more agile. The tail shape is a little bit different, which is going to make the tails easier to release.
yeah.
And, the Revolt's not a bad ski, but compared to the Bent, it's a less well-rounded all-mountain option.
These are two of my favorite skis.
Park background. Freestyle legend.
Thank you. Yeah, build the statue. But I look at the Revolt 104, even though they're very similar in width, like that's more of like a soft snow ski
Yeah.
to me. It's only 4 millimeters wider, but
It's pickier.
the rocker profile just feels a little bit more like your traditional powder ski or wider ski, especially here on the East Coast.
Where would you use the Revolt over the Bent?
Really good snow,
Yeah.
like knee deep,
Yep.
pow,
Snorkeling.
going into the woods at Alta and just choking on it.
Yep.
And I would use the Bent in basically any other condition. Or Revolt's fun in the park too. I don't really need like the stiffness of a Bent when I'm riding park, so I think I would be happy on either of them.
Yeah. But you'd be happier all season if you had just one of those. The Bent is the easier answer.
Yes, for sure. It's
There's less
just
of a chance of
more versatile, and it's going to do better on hard snow, which is I'm skiing on the East Coast, so that's mostly what I'm skiing.
Yeah. We don't have much blower pow out here.
No,
Not yet.
just got to be able to find it, man.
But to round out the question, a heavier ski is not a stronger ski.
Yeah,
It's like sports car versus luxury car.
yeah, or
know?
like scooter versus like motorcycle.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, no,
no,
not at all.
not a very good point on my part. I just I'm feeling a little insecure about my scooter.
It's okay.
I got a electric scooter, and was pretty hyped on it until
Well, your soon-to-be father-in-law bought a motorcycle.
yeah, he gave me an electric scooter, and then shortly after, I was like hyped on it. It's a little goofy, but it's sick for getting around. And then I find out like a week after he gave me the scooter that he bought himself. He upgraded his transportation from a scooter to a real motorcycle. So I look like a little bit of a bitch.
But that's okay.
That's fine.
You gotta scoot before you can bike,
It's true.
right?
Yeah. And we're talking like one of those like really goofy electric scooters.
Yeah. You don't look all that cool on it, but I understand the purpose.
I mean, I've never gotten around the city easier than I have in the
Yeah.
past couple of weeks.
But that scooter,
Whatever.
Is
Clearly,
more-
this was eating away at me, and I needed to find a way to mix it into this podcast episode.
but like what I was saying, like bigger, heavier in mass and material does not translate always to stiffer, stronger, or more performance.
Yeah.
Like a sports car is going to get around a racetrack a lot quicker than like a Suburban.
A Tundra.
Yeah. They're bigger cars, they're heavier cars. It doesn't make them more powerful, more stout.
True. Um, True. Yeah. And to sum it up, you frequently say something, Joe, that I think I mean, you just basically said in more words, but just because a ski weighs more does not mean it's stronger.
Yeah.
And you can think about that like people too. Like
Yeah, you could.
uh but
Yeah, like I'm stronger than you and you probably have, 60 pounds on
almost
me.
100 pounds on you.
It's not 100.
Almost 100 pounds on you. I'm not. I weighed myself recently.
What are you weighing in at?
I don't feel comfortable answering that question.
Come on. This is a safe space.
Not on the podcast.
This is safe.
All right,
If I-
230.
Okay. Camera adds 10 pounds. So on camera right now, you're like 240.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I weigh
115 pounds.
No.
Soaking wet.
No. I think I weighed myself last at your house. It was what, like 157?
All right, that's pretty good. That's respectable.
And that's on your scale
That's
too.
almost. Well, I still have 70 pounds on you.
Yeah, almost 100.
Yeah. We round up here. It's like a grade.
Yeah.
Like when I got a 70 in school, I'd be like, all right, I got 100.
Yeah, because you almost got 100.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, your parents love that.
Yes. All right. So this is the last ski one, and this might seem pretty simple, but I think there's a lot of different theories out there on figuring out ski length.
Mm.
How do I figure out my ski length?
Well, we just kind of started talking about some of the factors that go into it. You're what, 6'4", 6'5"?
6'5", thank you.
So
6'5.5". Maybe.
There are skis. It would be kind of ski dependent. It would be what you want the ski to be optimized for. But you would live in a range where you could ski anything really as short as like a 170
Mm-hmm.
or as long as like a 190, 191. I don't think they make anything bigger than that, although you'd probably like that. And
I'm in POW skis. I think
Yeah.
the bank goes up to 192.
It's 191.
I think like the JJ goes up to 192, dude.
Yeah. But I'm like 5'10" on a good day, and I can ski on anything as short as, a 165. I've skied 158s before, and I'll ski anything, as long as a 185.
Mm-hmm.
And more of what goes into that is skis don't know how tall you are.
Yeah.
They don't. They know how aggressively or not so aggressively someone's skiing. Like if I was just going to go cruise around for a day, I wouldn't want to be on a 185
Yeah.
anything, probably. I'd want something a little bit shorter, a little bit more forgiving. If I were skiing, more aggressively, like a 180 length, and almost every ski works for me. So that's kind of my happy place where it's tough to find a ski that I feel like isn't responding well in a 180 length. But I would never do like a carving ski in a 180 length. I would do that in a 168.
Yeah.
High 160s, low 170s.
Right.
Powder skis, I can get away with going a little bit longer because they're generally more forgiving and there's more rocker profile. I mean, look at George and Matt. They're relatively aggressive skiers, and a 180 works for them 9 times out of 10. There
Yeah.
are very few skis where they feel like they need to size up or size down. You came into here, like the store, and you were telling us you only ski 190s, and now typical ski day for you is 180s, and you're not having a terrible time.
No, not at all. First of all, I never I never once said I only ski 190s.
Oh, sorry, 200s.
No, that is a wild accusation that I'm going to disavow right now. I never said that. If I did,
It's on your resume.
all right, but I didn't say it out
True.
loud.
We read it. We passed it around.
Yeah.
I also think what gets goofed up with ski sizing is, or it's more easily goofed up, is rentals. People that are coming off of rental skis have probably been skiing on skis that are way too short.
Very short.
You walk into a rental shop and, whether they're worried about giving someone a ski too long or whatever.
They just shoot from the hip,
I haven't
generally.
worked in a rental shop in a really long time, but you know maybe a person that's 6 foot is getting a 170, maybe. And rental skis use foam cores. There's no torsional rigidity to them. Those skis are built for durability and maximum amount of uses. That's
Mhm.
it. They're not worried about any sort of performance. So, like someone that's been renting for a while and say they're on a 160 or a 170 rental ski, but they're 6 feet tall and, relatively strong skier at that point, they might look at a 180 length ski in here and be wary, like, hey, I've never skied anything this long. But what you're not getting on a rental ski is any sort of performance. And when you have a well-rounded ski that, like an Elan ripstick in a 180, it responds so well to input. And especially if that renter has combined rental skis with rental boots are not getting any energy to the ski.
Mhm.
They're generally like an 80 or 90 flex if you're lucky. They're probably too big. So combine boots that are too big, boots that are too soft with skis that are too short and also just not getting any real energy from the skier to the skis, and then you have a recipe for disaster. So like the length question would be, typically when someone comes in here, we ask them, how often are you skiing? Where are you most comfortable skiing? Are you just cruising around to have a good time? Are you skiing aggressively? Are you trying to push the limit? And that will factor into what makes the most amount of sense for the length of the ski.
Yeah.
Because we've got plenty of skiers who are, 5'5", skiing on skis that are almost a 180 length. You've got plenty of skiers who are 6 foot skiing on things that are a little bit shorter if they're
Yeah.
not aggressive skiers. So
Right. Or if they just like to ski in the
or
bumps all
yeah, if
day
you
or
want something that's easy to initiate turns on, easier off trail, you'd go shorter. If you
yeah,
like big, long, arcing turn shapes,
longer.
you'd go a little bit longer. So it's not so much how tall you are. If you have a strong, powerful skier, even like regardless of their height, you need to make sure they have enough ski underneath them to handle all the energy and input that that skier is putting out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was just making a note, because you said something stupid, but, the, yeah, so I wanna jump back a little bit to, what you were saying before. Because most of the, demo skis and stuff like that are just, like, key sizes,
Like rentals?
I'll, no, demo like, at a ski demo
Oh, okay.
or skis that we get sent to us by companies
Yeah.
are sometimes shorter than a length that I would prefer, and that's how I've ended up skiing on a lot of 180s, 179,
Yep.
um, and I have really come to I like it sometimes, like, especially with a more powerful ski. I think skiing it in a shorter length makes it easier to shape whatever turn you want. You don't sacrifice that much stability,
No,
and,
hardly any.
and
You get
the
more out of it.
one thing I do not like is being on I remember I was on a bent 90 in a size that was too small, and I was
Yeah.
like, "This is just
Well,
this
yeah, if
it feels a little bit like a ski blade."
you're on a park ski that is built for maneuverability and has a really playful feeling.
Yeah,
Like,
and I love that ski in the proper length, whatever the longest one is, the 184,
yeah,
uh, is great. It's just, like, going small in a very playful ski, you sacrifice a little bit more.
when you were skiing park more regularly,
Yeah,
what was your typical ski length?
like 186, like,
Okay.
one,
Is that common for most park skiers or just because you're a
well,
bigger
Henrik
guy?
started skiing really long skis, so everybody kinda tried to copy
How
him.
tall is he?
He's like so small. He's like 5. Sorry, Henrik. I know you're listening. But he's like I think like 5'8".
Okay.
Um and he would be skiing on skis way above his head, so
Yeah.
that kind of became the cool thing to do. But
But also he's skiing aggressively.
yeah, and he's also just a beast. He could ski on anything.
True.
The in the park there there's definitely criticism if your skis look too short, it just doesn't look as cool. It
Okay.
feels like you look a little bit more like an aerialist.
Oh.
So like that guy Andre Rigetli or whatever, he's from Europe. He's insane. He was the first one to do a quad flip, like a quad cork or something, and he will get hate because his skis look so short. Um,
even though he's that good of a skier.
but it's yes,
Yeah.
but it's like new schoolers hate, so it's not like there are a lot of trolls out there that are just gonna find anything to comment on. But I would say if you're skiing in the park and you want to like look sick, your skis should at least be up to your nose. That's my opinion.
That's just an opinion.
That is just an opinion.
Yeah. But you know, to round out how long should my skis be? Don't just go based off of how tall you are. You know,
Hmm.
you got to think about where you're using them. Are you off trail? Go a little bit shorter generally. Are you looking for, a big, long, powerful turn shape? Maybe you'd go a little bit longer, so something that's, as tall as you. And if you're just out there to cruise around and have a good time, regardless of your height, maybe you'd go a little bit shorter than what a size chart might say, because you just want something easy.
Right.
And the opposite for more aggressive skiers. Most aggressive skiers should probably be on something at least as tall as them,
Yeah. And yeah,
unless
there's
they have a
just no
preference
way.
otherwise.
I mean, there are a lot of size charts out there that would be a really good guide,
Yeah.
but like the unfortunate truth is that they're like nothing's universal.
No,
So there's
skis are
no
different, skiers are different, and then
exactly.
how people are using them is different for everyone,
That's right.
and that's okay.
You ready for some boot questions?
Oh boy,
What do you think?
I can be ready.
We'll do a couple of these.
Okay.
Joe is a boot fitter and boot expert, so I think you'll be impressed with how much he knows. That's what I think. I'm impressed,
You're easily
and
impressed
I
though.
get to see it daily.
You're easily impressed though.
It's like seeing Da Vinci.
Eh,
Um,
prefer Michelangelo.
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
I was thinking Da Vinci because like he was a little bit more of a wild card,
true.
but
You think you
regardless,
think I'm a wild card?
sorta.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take that with a grain of salt.
All right. Let me try to figure out what question I want to ask you first. This is more YouTube questions. I don't know why I'm repeating that, but Joseph,
Garrett,
is a boot gonna act stiffer if it's buckled up tight?
that's a really good question. Uh, it might feel that way because of the compression that you've added. And when say you're in a boot that's fit and sized properly, if you were to hammer the buckles down, you've eaten up more volume. Your foot has then filled in, or it could fill in more of the space. So it would be more difficult to crush your foot in there because there's no room for the plastic to move, and your body's not going to let you crush your feet. I don't know if it's not going to be stiffer. You can't change the material property of that ski boot plastic just by buckling it tighter.
Right.
It might feel that way. You might
Right.
feel more connected to the boot if
There's less dead
there's
space,
less
so
dead
you're gonna get more
space.
efficiency.
Yeah, but you don't ever want to find yourself in a ski boot where you need to buckle it to oblivion for it to feel tight and stiff.
Right.
That's what a lot of skiers that we work with that are coming out of rental boots tell us about rental boots is I have to buckle them all the way down just to get some sort of feeling out of the boot.
Right.
So
And
you're
then
not
that
making
ends up killing your
it
feet.
makes it yeah, you deform the boot. The boot is like collapsing in on itself because those buckles are strong. It can move plastic pretty easily.
Yep.
So it's not making the boot stiffer. It might feel a little bit stiffer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it is though.
Yeah.
You just feel more connected to the boot.
Right.
But what we look for during a fitting process, like I try and tell most of the customers that I work with, particularly the buckles directly on top of your feet, don't buckle them down all that tight.
Right.
They're especially for fitting, but generally those buckles are really only there to keep the boot closed, keep the boot in the right shape. And then the two buckles that are up on the leg, they need to be firm,
Right.
but they don't need to be aggressive.
Mhm.
You can run into an issue with skiers who aren't buckling their boots tight enough or can't get their boots buckled tight enough,
Yeah.
where the top of the boot feels vague, mushy, and then they run into issues with like shins hurting and, you're, under, you're not like tapping into what the boot has to offer because it's not fit properly up on the leg. But like a well fit boot shouldn't need to be hammered down on the buckles or over cranked on boas.
Right.
So it might make the boot feel a little bit stiffer, but it's really just because you're eating up more dead space. It's not making the boot stiffer.
Right. Like that, specifically the bottom buckle, the one on top of your toes,
Yeah,
is really just there for extra support. Like that,
it's there to keep snow and water out of the boot.
it's really,
There for show.
I don't know if I should be admitting. I mean, I oftentimes do not buckle that buckle, and it's
No, you
somewhat
don't.
of a style thing. Like
Yeah,
I think it
and
kind of looks cool when it's just like flowing, and it's like, yeah, whatever.
yeah,
I don't care about my
and you're in
buckles.
boots that fit the right way,
Right.
where the buckles are not holding you in on top of your feet. The boot itself is holding you in.
Yes.
I mean, if you go out and I'm speaking for you, if you went out and were to ski something steeper and more technical, you might hammer down on the buckles just so you feel the boot more.
As tight as possible.
But then at the end of the run, you're probably undoing those.
Yeah. Also, that's another great question I have for you. And this is going off script a little bit, but I've gotten it in the store. Is it a bad thing if I have to unbuckle my boots on the lift?
No.
You
No.
should be unbuckling your boots on the lift, right?
I don't know if should is the right word, but it can only help. You would essentially cut in half the amount of time you spend cranked into a ski boot.
In
Like
a
at the end
plastic
of
vise.
at the end of almost every ski run, I'm popping the two buckles on top of my feet just a little bit for
sure.
some sort of relief. It doesn't make the boot feel like bigger,
Mm-hmm.
but it just eases some of the tension that's on your foot.
You gotta let the dogs breathe.
Let them breathe. Give your foot a chance to just hang out. Because ski boots generally, feel their most uncomfortable when you're in the lift line or
Yeah.
on the chairlift.
And able to think about it.
And when you're not thinking about skiing, you're thinking about your feet.
Right. Right.
But no, it's not a bad thing if you unbuckle your boots
Are
before.
you thinking about your feet a lot?
I think about my feet all the time.
Yeah. You kind of
I
got
was
to
thinking about my feet this morning too because my toe hurts.
Why does your toe hurt?
I don't know.
New shoes?
No. Probably just
I got new shoes.
I know you did.
They feel great.
You're very fast. Very fast in your new
The
shoes.
barbecue 3000s. Problem with these is I can't really show them off because we had a commenter get angry that our feet were in the video.
You can cut that out too, Kirby.
uh,
But no, you don't, unbuckling your boots is not necessary between each run. It can help to ease the tension that the boot is and the compression that the boot is providing for your feet. You'll see a lot of people do that when they're in boots that are, fit a little bit more precisely or aggressively because, there's no dead space in that boot at all. And just easing those buckles up a little bit or popping the boa dial out just to give your feet like a second to, relax is an A-OK thing.
all right. So, think we covered everything there with the last question.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to make your boot stiffer. It just might make it feel a little bit tighter. But also, if you need to hammer down on buckles, probably in boots that are too big somewhere.
Yeah. And if you need to hammer down on your buckles to keep your foot locked in, it's not a huge deal if you have to unbuckle them on the lift. That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you make it more comfortable for your feet? But all right, let's move on to the next question. This gentleman said, I size down, but now sometimes my toes slam into the front of the boots when I land a bit back seat off jumps or other features.
I think that is just landing back seat.
That's kind of why I wanted to ask this question is because
So, I mean, if you're sized down, your toes are probably at the front of the boot. You have a good feeling up there, which you generally want. But if you're landing back seat, you're losing. You have no pressure on your shins, and then your feet are just living in the very end of the boot. I mean, you could even do it right now in your shoes, like just hike your toes all the way up to the end of your shoe, and it doesn't feel awesome.
But try to go off like a 20-foot jump and do that.
Yeah, and it's gonna hurt a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I just wanted to I just I unfortunately, I just don't think there's any way to land back seat and not have your
Bad
toes
time.
hurt,
Yeah, I mean,
even
there's
improperly.
also, I don't know what kind of boots he's in, but just because you're sized down in length, uh, might not necessarily mean that the boot fits well elsewhere. There might be too much room across the instep, so there's dead space above the foot, and that's going to create space for that foot to move forward.
Mhm,
If you're not able to keep that heel seated and planted in the back of the boot, because keeping your heel held in is not just from the back of the heel, like
mhm.
in the liner itself. You need to have like a decent amount of, well, you need to have a decent amount of contact on top of that instep to keep that heel planted in the back of the boot. Like when someone comes in and we have to work on their boots because they feel like there's too much space in the heel. What we'll do is generally try and add material like in front of your ankle bones, because that's what's going to keep everything seated backwards, try and eat up some of the dead space there. So just because you're in a boot that fits right in length or you size down in length, doesn't mean that the boot fits 100%. There's more than just length that goes into fitting a ski boot.
Mhm.
And if you're landing back seat in any boot, even if it's the world's best fitting boot, then it's probably not going to feel good, because landing back seat doesn't just hurt your toes, it hurts a lot of other things too.
Yeah. That's one of those things where you gotta it's not the boots. You
Yeah.
gotta figure out how to keep your weight forward on jumps
I just keep
or
my skis on the ground at all times.
that's also good advice for a lot of people, but aspiring park skiers, unfortunately, that toe bang is part of the game,
Yeah, and toe
and,
bang can happen in boots that are too long too, too big.
for sure,
Because then,
it can be worse in boots that are too long
yeah,
because your foot picks up momentum and it can slide more.
yeah, you're moving around, you're moving and grooving.
Yeah, so just try to be in boots that fit right.
When's the last time
Uh,
you landed back seat?
Probably the last time I went skiing in April or at Killington in May. Um, yeah,
What were you doing at Killington in May?
skiing. Skiing superstar.
Was that this
Bumps?
year?
Yeah. Skiing bumps.
Where was I?
Skiing park. They had a couple rails set up. It was
Oh,
sweet.
this is when you did your
Bunch of
show.
mogul skiers. Yeah, I had a
You had
comedy
a
show
show
up
up in
there and
Vermont. That's right.
in good old Brandon, Vermont.
You love it up there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. Beautiful place.
Bump
Just
skiing at Killington in the spring is probably some of the best ski days that you can get.
it's an
Maybe
unbelievable
maybe in the
time.
world.
It's really there's no other I mean, there's no place quite like Killington in the spring where you like feel that passion and energy and just good vibes.
Yeah.
Like the most hardcore skiers who are just so excited.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you hear Killington sold?
yeah, I
Yep.
don't really
From what I
have too many
understand,
thoughts on the whole
from what I
thing,
understand,
but
it sounds like things are staying status quo.
yeah.
Killington is Killington still, but
Is it the same like pass or
yeah, it's still on Icon.
okay?
They're still offering Killington season passes. I don't think
Sure.
any of the pricing changed for Killington season passes this year. They haven't released anything for next year yet, obviously. But I think a couple of local investors purchased like a majority stake in Killington. Powder is still involved. They're a minority shareholder.
Powder?
Powder Corp.
Yeah.
They own like
Yeah, no, I know.
almost every ski resort ever,
I know.
aside from the ones that they don't own.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be anything. I don't think it's a negative at all as
No.
long as they keep Superstar open
The
as
the
long as possible.
the press release they had basically said, we're not trying to shorten season. We're not trying to do anything different. We're going to continue with the projects that have been started under different ownership. So I think it's just like new person at the helm.
Hell yeah, Killington's awesome.
We love it there. Mary Lou's, Jack's,
Mm-hmm.
Wobbly Barn,
Mm-hmm.
Pickle Barrel,
Pickle. Um,
Umbrella Bar.
Mad Taco. Is there a Mad Taco there?
I don't know.
I love the Mad Taco. Umbrella Bar is sweet.
Yep.
Um,
A lot of backseat skiing.
yeah, toe bang. Get that purple toe before the season ends.
Skier's toe. They call it skier's toe for a reason.
Yeah,
It's got its own name.
it's true. 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 I haven't lost my toenail in a while. I'm going for that next year.
You thinking about getting a pair of SPKs again?
I lost a lot of toenails to the SPK. I
Yeah.
think that would be the key. I actually found a pair of SPKs online, 29 and a half. I was thinking about getting them just to see how they felt.
Just to walk around the house in?
Yeah. And just have them on display. I would love to have like a old boot display of like all the greatest
What would be some of the other ones that you want?
SPK, the gold Dalbello.
Is that the one with the chain?
Yes, you had the chain on the back, which
Yeah.
was so baller. I loved those boots.
Did you have a pair of those?
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Some of the best skiing I've ever done in my life is in those boots. Those boots brought something out of me. Tom Wallish, Tom
Oh,
Wallish, blue full tilts with tongues.
yeah.
Any of the Tom Wallishes, but those were the ones that I had. Let's see.
So you basically
What
just
other
want
full tilts do I have?
you
Just
just
like the classic park boots,
yeah.
because park boots are kind of slowly becoming a thing of the past. I feel like, and well, we'll see.
He's kidding. You can cut that out, Kirby.
We can cut out whatever we want to cut out, but
Yeah, but a good boot collection would be nice.
I'm trying to think of other boots I could throw in there. I had a pair of the Rasta Color Tanner Hall Dalbello Kryptons, but they for some reason just did not fit me well at
Yeah.
all. Those hurt my toes.
Yeah. You're probably skiing them in like a ginormous size though, right?
No, it was the 29 and a half, which is what every boot I've ever had. Well,
Yeah.
since I was fully grown. Um, but yeah, I'd say the best runs I had for boots were the blue two-wall full tilts and the Dalbello gold ones. But it was also like I was like 16, 17, 18 years old, probably
Yeah.
in the best ski shape.
Totally. You were limber back then.
Yeah, I was also skiing a lot more. Well, you can cut that out, Kirby. You can probably cut out a lot of this. All right, Joseph. Anything else?
Is that all you got for me?
I think that's all I got for you. I mean, I wrote down a couple more questions, but I think we covered a lot of good stuff, and I can save them to see if this format works. We will continue to do it, and we might try to do it in a different way where like we actually have people submit questions for the pod
Yeah.
via Instagram or
Shoot us some questions.
shoot us
Email,
some questions.
YouTube, live chat.
Yeah. And just if you want it answered on the podcast,
We'll do our best.
we will do our best. If it's a good question,
They don't even
we
have to be
appreciate
good
it.
questions. There's no such thing as a bad question, Garrett.
That's true. That's kind of like what I want the theme of this to be. There's no such thing as a stupid question. A lot of this stuff is like we don't expect everybody to know, and
And it's easy to get confused online.
it's so easy to get confused with all these reviews, all that stuff out there, and we just want to help. That's all.
We're here to help.
We're here to help.
We should put that on our business cards. We're just here to help.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Can we do that?
Sure. I don't know. Probably not.
Should that be the name of the podcast? We're just here to help. Should we just come out with a title? The Boston Ski Party episode, whatever. We're just here to help.
Yeah, just here to help.
No stupid questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
any questions?
Only stupid ones.
Nice. All right. Joseph,
Garrett, thanks for having me.
thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Bang.